Probably the best part of Breaking Bad is when Cielo tells Walter Blanco that he should go to the police, and he says,
Yo no estoy en peligro. Yo soy el peligro.
Wait, what? That's Metastasis, a near shot-for-shot Colombian Spanish-language remake of Breaking Bad. We're normally used to seeing international versions of reality and game shows, like Survivor, which has versions made for local audiences in 48 different countries. But what most of us aren't as used to hearing about are international versions of fictional television, which are much more common than you might think. Sidebar about Survivor: despite what the season count might have you believe, it's not originally an American production, and in fact it was created by a British producer in '94 and originally aired in Sweden in '97, 3 years before the American version debuted. The plot of Metastasis is almost exactly the same as Breaking Bad. The changes are small though, like the names of the characters have been altered. It's set in the Colombian capital of Bogota, and Walter teaches at a private school instead of a public school. Roberto Urbino, who plays Jesse in Metastasis, says that there didn't need to be too many changes made to the show to make it work for a Colombian market, as many of the issues that Albuquerque faces being a border town are the same issues faced across Latin America. And while seeing Walter Blanco speak Spanish and cook meth in the back of a school bus instead of an RV is a striking adjustment for fans of the original, the adaptation is still really good, which is a feat of its own to create an adaptation for a completely different market that still maintains most of the quality of the original. Even American adaptations of British shows often suck. And this happens all the time. An Indian version of 24 made its debut in 2013.
शाम के 7 और 8 बजे के बीच घटती हैं। सारी घटनाएं वास्तविक समय में घटती हैं।
It was met with rave reviews and looks remarkably similar to the original, right down to the split screen effect and the ticking clock, though I imagine it's much less about how awesome America is. They even have their own video game spin-off. A Russian version of Prison Break titled Pobeg hit the airs for 1 season in 2010 and follows roughly the same plot as the original, right down to the paper crane in the water tunnel thing. Comedies are very popular for international licensing, and Russia is particularly fond of it. Meet It's Always Sunny in Moscow.
Если у друзей свой бар, но в баре этом пусто.
A near shot-for-shot remake of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Much of the show is the same, though the bar is suitingly titled Philadelphia instead of Patty's. The weird thing about the show is that since the American version was initially produced on such a low budget, the first season of Moscow looks way better than the first season of Philadelphia. Then there's the Golden Girls, which have made their way to the Netherlands, Greece, Turkey, the Philippines, Spain, the UK, and also Russia. My favorite is the Dutch version, but that's mostly just for the song.
Niemand is leuker dan jij. Met jou vliegt iedere dag voorbij.
But let's back up. How did we get here? Licensing shows or formats to different companies has been happening basically since it could, but only really took off in the 90s. Cross-border adaptations began with radio. One of the first was Major Beau's Amateur Hour, a talent show first aired in New York in 1934 that was adapted years later by the BBC.
4 great cars, Plymouth, Dodge, DeSoto, and Chrysler, again bring you your friend, Major Edward Bowes and his original Amateur Hour.
The first format to be sold internationally was a radio panel show called It Pays to Be Ignorant. It aired on Mutual Broadcasting in 1942 in New York before the UK rights were picked up by the BBC 4 years later. What's My Line was the first TV format to be sold cross borders. Originally aired in 1950 on CBS, the game show was subsequently picked up a year later by the BBC.
Would you call yourself an athlete, sir? Yes. You would.
By the sound of him, he's an optimist.
Is it a ball?
By the end of the 50s, several European countries and Australia were taking part in cross-border licensing. Suddenly, more and more game shows were getting picked up internationally, from Take Your Pick to Double Your Money, but it wouldn't be until the 90s came along that the market would explode. In the 90s, many new genres were created that were very easy to format and recreate, like reality, cooking, and renovation shows. That combined with the fact that the number of cable channels and broadcasters was increasing exponentially across the globe, and that different markets wanted content in their own native tongue, and the number of licensed shows skyrocketed, leading to a pack of super formats like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which has 81 different versions, and the aforementioned Survivor, or Expedition Robinson. The Russian market in particular is currently very into licensing formats. Not only because picking up tried and true formats is less risky than betting on originals, but since 80% of their primetime schedule is made up of TV series, which is 2.5 times higher than Europe or the United States. Since Russian viewers never really took to foreign productions, the best way to fill the creative gap was to license successful formats, making small tweaks and changes to fit their culture. I can't imagine much of Modern Family would stay the same. Speaking of Modern Family, the Iranian version, Half Sang, did remove the gay couple from the show, which is weird because it is called Modern Family, not old school religious family, but I guess that's a whole other thing. It's taking away the whole point of the show. The show has also been ported over to Chile, Greece, and an Indian version is currently in production.
Philipenes.
Sometimes international versions aren't official, but rather stolen. The I'm sorry I brought it up Big Bang Theory has been ripped off in Belarus by a show called The Theorists, which is about 4 nerdy scientists who live next to a hot blonde waitress. Even their names are the same. Chuck Lorre, I'd feel bad for you if the Big Bang Theory wasn't so horrible and damaging.
Из яблока Ньютона не знали 3 законов, а Дионис доказывал, что истина в вине. Гагарин в космос полетел, а Галилей землей вертел, а Менделеев химию придумал во сне.
Probably the 2 most successful internationally formatted sitcoms are The Office, with 7 versions and counting, and Married with Children, with 8 versions. And counting, presumably. The strangest thing about all of these shows is that most of them are very recent. Golden Girls went off air in '92, but it just hit the Netherlands 3 years ago. Friends ended in 2004, but a Chinese remake titled Planet Home Buddies, which in itself is phenomenal, premiered in 2013. Cheers, which went off air in 1993, was resurrected in Spain in 2011. Everybody Loves Raymond ended in 2005, but the Netherlands just got in 2011. Though this time, Everybody Loves Jack.
Hoi, ik ben Jack. Ik schrijf columns over sport en ik woon in Almere met mijn fantastische vrouw Barbara. Oh, nou, dan zou je het toevallig net hebben. Barbara is gestopt met werken na de geboorte van onze tweeling en houdt thuis de boel draaiende. En dat is maar goed ook, want we hebben een...
I'm sorry, nobody loves Jack. It's strange to think that these massive cultural icons that we grew up with are now being recreated around the world. Whether they'll be as impactful on different cultures, I guess, is yet to be seen. Except for Everybody Loves Raymond. It's just the worst. What I think is particularly interesting about licensed TV shows or formats is that it sort of reveals the commercial bones behind what many consider to be art. I don't want to get into a whole what is art debate, but what I mean to say is that it can be somewhat disheartening to see inside of what you maybe, however naively believed, was a purely creative endeavor. And today, with so much content available free or almost free, it's very easy to get disconnected from that concept and to think that maybe Breaking Bad was created solely to satisfy Vince Gilligan's artistic desires. But in most cases, whether it's television, literature, or paintings, this is rarely true. Artists have patrons. Graceful transition to, I'm starting a Patreon campaign and I really need your support. You've probably noticed that I haven't been uploading videos every week, or even every other week, and trust me, it's not for lack of trying. These videos take a lot of time to make, especially because it's not my full-time job. So I need to hire an editor or something so I can get back on a weekly schedule. If you don't know how Patreon works, basically you choose an amount that you're comfortable with donating every month to me to keep this channel going, whether it's $1 or lots of dollars. And you don't have to if you can't, don't worry about it, it's purely voluntary. You'll still keep getting new videos and we'll still be friends. The page is up and running now, you can click here to go check it out, or there's a link in the description. There's a lot of hopefully fun and exciting perks you guys might like, and if you want me to add any perks, just let me know. If you can spare the money to help this channel get back on a weekly schedule, that would be awesome. But if you can't, that's absolutely okay. You rock too. What do you guys think? Will these international versions of our cultural icons become cultural icons in different cultures? And what's the craziest foreign version of a TV show you've ever seen? Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, be sure to click right on my face to subscribe, or at least think about it. Soy yo es un peligro. El peligro soy yo. I'm not gonna say it.